Hi everybody, it's January 28th, 2026. Sometimes I think about the world around, the world that surrounds me, the world that is out of sight, the world that is ephemeral in a sense. We personally make up the parts of the world that we can't see. We make up the government workings that we can't see. We make up the ecological systems that we can't see. We make up the social networks that we can't see. All of this is background construction in our minds. And I wonder how this affects our global view of our lives. Like our personal lives and our professional lives, our social lives, and in that personal sphere, that is all documented and kind of understood. But the far-reaching parts of this world that we create in our mind, how does that affect us going into our personal life? How does that affect us in our outreaching thoughts? And the only conclusion I could come to is that all of the world that we can't see, that we do not know the tiniest bit of how it's going, is taken care of by God. And if you want proof, just think about it. Just think about how you go through your personal lives and the world has not collapsed, the world has not imploded. It may seem like the world is in dire straits right now, but in our personal lives, things are flowing, things are moving, stuff gets done, stuff gets concluded, and we move on. So you have to look at that as proof, as partial proof that God is taking care of us from the top down and the bottom up and from side to side. We just have to come to realize that what we can't see exists. Some people may say it doesn't exist. Some people may say it doesn't matter necessarily and it doesn't affect us. That's why we have to focus on local government and local issues. But we are still a part of this world, this universe, and whatever it is in between and beyond. So if you want proof that God exists, that there's a Father, Son, Holy Spirit watching out for us, it is that what you cannot see, what you cannot comprehend, is taken care of perfectly in order for you to live your life, your personal life, as best you can. And so this gets me to thinking of taking a stand on premise instead of details. The first step I want to point out is that when you have enough faith and enough strength and enough courage to stand up against the big fears, the big premise of your smallness, the big premise of your vulnerability, and you stand with strength and faith in yourself and faith in your connection to God, instead of the details that are going to sway you. So what happens is that when you stand up, initially it's always you stand up on premise because that's all there is to go on. But then things will be presented to you. They may try to attack your character. They may try to attack somebody you love or something you love. They may try to take away your money. And so once you let go of your focus on standing against the premise of opposition and focusing on those details, it's going to draw you in, and it's going to infuse fear into you. It's going to infuse doubt into you until you let go of standing up against the premise and you start to waver and you start to falter and you start to fear because they have daunted you with the details. So the first step to standing up to the premise of evil, of no good, is to stay focused on the big picture and stay focused on the belief in God and the belief in your connection to God, and you can stand against more than you thought. And the battle is not always won in one stroke, in one blow, in one swing. You have to keep on returning to the standing up against this opposition. So the second thing I could say about standing on premise is that you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to understand the inner workings of how God is supporting you. You don't have to understand where your next meal is coming from all the time. You don't have to understand why doing the right thing is right in an argument with somebody who's trying to undercut your theories by pointing out insignificant details in your theory of why right is right and why doing good is why doing good is good. So you don't have to know all the details. Again, you have to focus on the big premise that you are standing with good. You are standing against evil. Evil cannot win against good because good is for a reason, and good is all powerful. Good is from God, and God is omnipotent and omniscient and omnipresent. So you have to continue to focus on the premise. And once you stand on premise long enough, you will see things just bounce off you. You will see things scurry away from you. And the last thing I could say about standing on premise is that you have to be in it for the long haul, because the opposite of good will wait until you get tired. It will wait until you run out of faith. It will wait until you no longer have the sturdiness that you had at the beginning, and then it's going to seize on that opportunity to knock you down. But like I said before, the war and the battles are not won in one swing, not won in one fight. It's the returning to the standing on the premise of God and his power and God of his goodness, and standing against evil again and again, and withstanding the waves of terror that it tries to tear you down with. And I know this may sound all dramatic and all holy fire and all that stuff, but this is our lives. You know, our lives is basically protecting the good of our lives by standing against what diminishes it. And sooner or later, you're going to have to get to the point where you're standing up against the ungood, against the evil, trying to take away your happiness, trying to take away your peace. So standing on premise is always the answer. The details and the flaws in your plan and the supposed flaws in your rationale are going to be used against you to draw you out of your strength. So I hope this helps. Thanks.